Welcome to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. Laura Muir. How are you doing, Laura?
Hello. Yes, I'm very good. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm up to high though. How are you, Stephen?
I'm trying to contain my hydro levels.
It's been a long time want of ours, Laura, to chat
Oh,
with you. So I'm going to do it right now in case I forget. Massive thank you to agent Tony McGill, who has brought us together. Do you want to say a wee bit about how you actually ended up here?
yeah. I think it was must have been 2, 3 days before Christmas, and I was just out on a run in Glasgow, and I think I passed him, and I was coming back again. I see he got his phone out, and he was, it's like, oh, Laura, do you mind if I get a photo? I was like, okay, sure. Like, I don't normally stop on a run, but I could see he was a bit keen, so I was like, okay, it's fine. So got a photo, thought, okay, cool. What was going to crack on? And then he starts speaking about your podcast, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fine, but I need to keep running. So you're gonna have to run with me because I need to keep going. I can't stop for 2 minutes. So yeah, so I'm
Oh
with
man,
and pitched
fantastic.
your podcast. So here
Brilliant.
I am.
Good work, Tony. Good work.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
one of our taglines is "There's no milk for shy bairns." So Tony put
yeah,
that to practice. So well done.
yeah.
Tony. Thank you. Um, we're going to go with this. We've got sent you a question set, but the first one we start with every guest that we have, Laura, is we get our guest to describe who they are. So for those who maybe haven't heard of Laura Muir, who is Laura Muir? On you
Well,
go.
I think I'm gonna think of myself as a person. I'm just someone who just loves running, and that's pretty simple. Yeah, I just love running, and I'm very fortunate that I've got to this level where I can travel the world, which I love doing as well. Have lots of these amazing opportunities to, and then also I did a veterinary medicine degree at university as well. So I'm a vet. Well, went to be a vet and ended up being a runner. Well, I kind of ended up being both, but I don't practice vetting at the moment. So yeah, full-time athlete at the moment. And I've won a few medals along the line too, which is good. So yeah.
What is it with female runners and becoming vets?
Mm,
We've we spoke to Carla Borland, so
Yeah,
that can make Carla Borland, Emma Stewart, Jasmine Paris, Laura Muir.
I
Yeah,
know. What
so
it's funny. I was training at university. There was loads of medics, vets, dentists. I don't know what is something with the brain, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
aye,
Yeah,
it is a common theme,
mhm,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
First side question. You mentioned travelling. You travelled the
Mm.
world through running. Is there a spot, a place that has got a hold of your heart?
Well, I guess I travel for the competitions and then I have a lot of training camps as well. So I'm currently in South Africa at the moment. Managed to escape the January weather just in time, which is really nice. But I think one of the training camps we go to is St. Moritz in Switzerland, and that
Mhm.
is just beautiful. It's stunning. It's just you've got the hills and the mountains and the kind of snow capped when we get there, and it's just really lovely valley trails and things. So yeah, I quite like that forestry sort of scene. I guess kind of like Scotland, I guess. So I like going there. That's really nice. But South Africa's always good too. I saw some monkeys on a run yesterday, which is quite cool. So yeah, as an animal lover as well, it's nice to be around sort of nature and animals and things. So yeah, so I guess there are two places I've been to a lot, which I do enjoy. Yeah, good.
You're not going to see monkeys in Glasgow, are you?
No, I'd
Particularly.
be a bit well. You never know in Glasgow.
A different type of monkey,
Had a
maybe.
few, a few interesting sights, but no, yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
And
Yeah.
Laura, in terms then, are you running, and were you a member of a club from a young age?
Yeah, I think I joined initially it was Dunfermline and West Fife.
Hmm.
Must have been 11, 12, maybe something like that. Joined there at
Okay.
the same time as my brother. So I was there as a child, and then I think when I was about 18, moved to Dundee Hawk Hill, just because they were a bit of a bigger clubs in terms of getting into competitions and things. So
Mhm.
so yeah, from a very young age, and being sort of on the East Coast, and then moved to Glasgow when I went to uni, and then yeah, was there ever since. So yep, yep.
We're good friends with a running legend called Adrian Stott, who had a
Oh yeah,
shop in Edinburgh, is it
yeah,
Running Become? And
yeah,
he
yeah,
recalls you coming in there and getting spikes and stuff like that. So he was
yeah.
really affectionately speaking about you.
I remember that. Yeah, we'd have the one trip of the year when we went to Edinburgh. Edinburgh seemed quite exciting. I don't know why. I think because I was just from a little village. And yeah, I remember going to a shop and we'd get maybe one pair of trainers and one pair of spikes for the year, and that was it. So it was a big day. So it was exciting. Yeah, and I remember that. It was good. Good times with the bright yellow bag.
That's it.
Yeah. It's good.
What? I don't know if we're going to ask any questions off the question set, Laura. We're probably just going to roll with what's happening in our heads. What does, from that young age, what did running bring to you?
I think it was just like, I don't know, because I think I am a competitive person, but or rather I'm not particularly competitive, but it was something about getting on the track and I was like, yeah. So I don't know, it was just I was able to have this different kind of outlet that I hadn't had before. And I quite liked the fact that it was just me. I did a few team sports as a kid and a variety of different things, and just nothing seemed to be like, it was fun, but nothing that was like I felt really passionate about. And then when I started running, it was something about it's just so black and white. Like the effort you put in is what you get out of it, and it's very simple. And what you put in is what you get out. So I just quite like that simplicity, and it was all on you as well. You didn't rely on anybody else. It was all on like the work you put in as the results that you get. So I think I just quite like that sort of simplicity about it, and how you could just work really hard and hopefully get what you want from it. So yeah, I just quite like that kind of independence, I guess, of it, that freedom, and just being able to work hard and get that little competitive sort of streak, I guess, channeled in a certain way. So yeah.
A good balance and a good segue back to the question set.
Mhm.
How do you balance the intensity with recovery? Because I mean, I recognise you as the shorter, faster stuff, but that's going to be very taxing on your body. So how do you find that balance between training, competing, and recovery?
Yeah, it's hard, and it does take a lot of experience, a lot of learning, and a lot of time, because every athlete's different. Like nobody's physiologically exactly the same. So maybe identical twins, but that's probably about the only thing. So yeah, everybody matures at different rates. Everybody develops at different rates. Everybody's had different experiences in terms of intensity of training and what they've done before. So yeah, you just kind of have to learn as you go, really. And I know I can train at quite a high intensity and I can maintain it. I do have a rest day every week. I think that's really important in terms of that recovery side of the view. But yeah, I think you just have to kind of listen to your own body and adapt the training to how you cope. And like it's difficult because I could give people my training program, but it doesn't mean they're going to run what I can run, because their just body won't be able to handle it. And other people can, and they might need to do more to get the same results. So it's just everybody's different. So yeah, it's about, I think, listening to your body and taking that time to recover. But at the same time, I know, okay, I'm tired, but I can push. And you need to be able to push, because when it comes to things like Olympics, you got to get close to kind of your maximum potential, I guess. So
Yeah, it's like fine tuning it to your individual tailored needs.
yeah, that's it. I mean, definitely got it wrong before as well. Like I've definitely tapered too much for races, or I've definitely trained too much going into races. So it's all about that balance and knowing, okay, we need to sustain a certain amount of training because our goal's here. And as much as we have little steps, you want to make sure you get to the goal in the best shape, and you don't want to like taper too much and then lose a bit of fitness. But at the same time, you don't want to smash into the extent that all your races leading up to that, you're not getting what you need out of them, and it kind of lowers your confidence a bit. So yeah, it's a big balancing act, and yes, certainly made a lot of mistakes, but got a lot of things right as well. So I think that's just the journey with everything. If you want to get to be the best, you got to make a lot of mistakes and learn from them. So yeah.
And John, we've not heard that term when you're building up to the Olympics.
Yeah,
on the podcast before. That I'm aware
didn't
of.
like drop that in there.
Listen, I'd be name dropping
It's
it
kind of obvious though. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Why not?
That you're saying, you used two words there, Laura, wrong and mistakes, but that's where the learning is as well, isn't it? Yeah. So
that's it. It's like, it's not like you follow this exact plan and this is your exact result, because everybody is so different. Everybody has different physical, like anatomical, mental abilities. Very skilled in some areas and not others. So yeah, you've got to use your strengths and improve your weaknesses. And you only know that by testing your limits and making mistakes and being like, okay, that was too much. we need to be stronger to be able to do this, and having injuries, and it takes a long time. So yeah.
Can I ask my first silly question?
Mhm.
It's a hell of a lead in to think here it comes. There's obviously, you'll do a lot of running. How much does the strength and conditioning stuff, or the stretchy stuff is my technical term for that, how much does that play a part though? Is that a dedicated thing you've got to do every single day apart from your rest day?
It's actually changed quite a lot. So I do gym twice a week, which is like tailored specifically to areas we've identified that I'm either weak in or I need to improve. So that's 2 Pacific gym sessions a week. So I've just come back from the gym just now. But then every day I do a little bit of mobility in the morning. I didn't used to be able to have to do that, but now I need to. I'm a bit older now, so I'm a little bit stiffer when I first start running. So I do a little bit of mobility every morning, just to make sure things are moving. And then I train, and then I have those 2 Pacific days that I go to the gym. And I also see my physio twice a week as well, which is a maintenance thing, hopefully in the most of the time. But I think sometimes it's sort of a misconception that, you see a physio if you're injured, but actually, like, I see a physio twice a week, every week, regardless, if not more, just in terms of that maintenance point of view, because I would do work my body very, very hard. So she would do a lot of the stuff that I guess people might do if they didn't have that sort of access, where you use a roller or various massage guns and tools and things. So I guess, to be fair, it's probably every day I'm doing something. So you got to look after your body at the end of the day.
Do you enjoy the gym work side of it?
It's funny. Well, not as much. I just want to run.
Yeah.
But like, I know that if I want to run at really high intensity, I got to be strong.
Yeah.
So it's really important. And like, I do like bits of it, but other bits I'm a bit like, ugh, like this is a bit annoying.
Yeah.
I know, like, if I don't do gym, I'm not going to be strong in areas that I need to be strong in, and my body will, it'll break down and I'll get injured. I used to have quite a lot of issues with Achilles and calves because I just weren't strong enough to deal with the forces that I was putting through them. So done a lot of work on them, which has been really good. So I'd much rather have to go to the gym a couple of times a week and not get injured as often than not go and like every sort of few weeks have an issue. So
Yeah, preventative. Blessing for us all there, John.
Yeah.
That's that learning again. You listen to your body and then you think, okay, how can I prevent that from happening? I'm interested as well about, you mentioned about massage guns and different tools and things that physios have.
Yeah.
Massage guns only really came on my radar 3-4 years ago, right? You've been running a good period of time.
Yeah.
Has that side of things changed for you? A noticeable change? Or my question is, when did you first hear about a massage gun?
It was probably when, to be honest, I was really lucky I got given one. I barely used it, but it's a nice backup to have, if I wasn't able to access a physio. But I think I got given that maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. It's quite big and heavy, like a lot kind of more smaller and lighter now. But I guess I've just been in a very fortunate position that I've had access to, because of the institutes and the federations I've been involved in, I've got access to very sort of high standard physios and SEC coaches and a variety of things. So I've used them mostly, and I do my own little bits in terms of mobility. But in terms of actual hands-on, like massage guns, I barely use them because I have that access to stuff. But I know, that's not always a position that people are able to be in, to see a physio 2-3 times a week. So, but I know quite a lot of athletes that do use them as well, and they're quite good if you're traveling and things as well. So,
But it's still a relatively new technology. A lot's changed, isn't it, in the last few years? Can we speak about running? Let's speak about running. Can we do that?
I think there's been a lot more like focus on point recovery, which is really good. So I think that's been nice. So I think before it was just kind of old school, just like batter it and just see how you get on. But I think there's a lot more focus now on, I think, trying to look after your body, which has been really good to see. So yeah.
Before we get to Laura Muir's running, who's your biggest inspiration?
This is quite a hard. I do get asked this a lot, and I've kind of said a few different names in the past, and kind of, but it's one that, like, I feel like I didn't really actually have someone because I want to be a vet. So actually, growing up, my inspiration was actually the vet that I did a lot of my work experience and placement with. So he was actually my inspiration growing up because I really enjoyed the athletics, but it was so far off my radar from I didn't even know you could be like a professional athlete really. I wasn't really aiming to ever do what I am now. So it's kind of difficult when you're not like looking to do something, you're not really necessarily inspired by someone that's doing it, because I'm not going to be her or that person or whatever. So yeah, to be honest, it was my vet that kind of inspired me growing up. Yeah, I think we've got a lot of really great, Scottish figures that I probably relate to the most, because they're, when they speak similar to you and you kind of see them in your similar locations, it's nice. So probably Chris Hoy, actually, I've met him a couple of times and he's been lovely, and to see the success that he's had in his sport is a big one. But then you've got the likes of Paula Radcliffe and Steve Cram in your own sport too, and Kelly Holmes as well, sort of in more my events. So yeah, nobody actually specific, but kind of like a general group of people. But it's because I wanted to be a vet and didn't really think I was going to be a runner. So yeah.
That's not a bad wee list of Olympians that you mentioned there. And
Yeah.
that's the thing with when the Olympics is on, the inspiration is we're seeing it right now about the darts. Everybody wants to be, all the kids want to be like Luke Littler, don't they? And it's brilliant. And then it's the same when Andy Murray was playing tennis, although he never really liked it that much, he was pretty good. And a lot of kids would then pick up a tennis racket when a big Masters was on. So
I saw Chris Hoy on the stage at the darts. He was doing the presentation at the end, as it so happened. So, which was brilliant to see. But Laura, you mentioned at the moment you're in South Africa on a training camp, we're assuming. What's the cycle for you at the moment? What's on the horizon?
So it's quite a quiet time at the moment, but indoors is kind of February, March time. So
okay.
I think we've not sort of fully committed. We just kind of want to see how January goes. But all being well, it'd be nice to do some indoor races. I do really like running, like racing at this time of year. And I do really like indoors as well. So yeah, hopefully do a few indoor races. We just want to focus on, the main focus for the year is the World Championships in September. So everything needs to be geared towards that. So if I'm in a position where I think, it's a good thing to do, then we'll do it, which would be good fun to do. But so wait and see. But hopefully a few races in sort of next month and in March time. Yeah.
And then I think it's interesting, like, how much is split between track time for you and then like easy runs on or anything like that? What does a typical sort of week look like at the moment for you?
Yeah, I train quite intensely, so I do 3 sessions a week. I've always done that, even since I was, quite young. Not as intensely as what they are now and the volume that they are now, but I've just always found that I've got really good sort of recovery. So I do 3 sessions a week. Quite a lot of people only do 2, but it just depends on your training. So I do 3, do gym twice a week, and then I do runs on like the other days of the week, and then 1 rest day a week as well. So yeah, quite a lot of kind of changeable. You have your track stuff, sometimes some longer road stuff, sometimes things on grass, like hills are really good as well, I think, for building endurance and making you strong in the winter. So yeah, quite a variety, which is quite nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
What do you have for breakfast?
Standard porridge. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You put berries in it. You have berries in it.
Berries and peanut butter is my go-to. Yeah. Raspberries, blueberries, and peanut butter. Yeah.
Sales of peanut butter just went through the roof in Scotland. And no, it's because it's a question, and we speak about food a lot, but you've got to have energy in the tank, haven't you, before you go? What about post session? What would you have tea afterwards?
Well, it's all just about a bit of balance, really. Yeah. So just making sure you've got enough carbs, protein, and then like your vitamins and veggies and things. So yeah, I would normally have protein source, carb source, and then make sure you get your vegetables in as well. So just pretty kind of simple, nothing like crazy fancy or anything. But and then I usually make sure to have meat 2-3 times a week, fish a couple times a week, chicken a couple times a week. So you're varying that protein source as well. And your meat's really good in terms of your iron, and then you've got your omega-3s from your fish. So yeah, it's just important to have, I think, just a really balanced diet and from lots of different areas, and making sure you're getting those main food groups in as well. So yeah, I think it's just a good balance, everything. But yeah, timing is a good thing too. It's like making sure you get that recovery in after you train as well. So you don't want to wait 3-4 hours before you then eat. So I typically training sessions like before lunch or before dinner. So I make sure I get that recovery in straight afterwards as well.
it's the perfect time of year to be speaking about that balance as we enter January and into a new year, and people are still changing after the festivities and maybe a wee bit overindulgent. So a perfect timing. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. And a question that entered my head this morning when I was thinking about this, and Stephen's touched on it there, about indoor and outdoor. You've excelled in both, but is there a massive difference in preparation for?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because I guess the summer is the most important time. That's when you have the major championships. So it's about trying to be the best you can then. So it's about tailoring, like, the indoors. Is it going to give you something, or is it going to take away? So sometimes I've missed the indoor season a couple of times because we think I need to focus more on the summer. Maybe it's going to be a bigger summer. And sometimes I've maybe done a bit of a longer event indoors because that's quite an endurance-y kind of phase of the year. But for me, it doesn't affect me too much because I'm short. It's easier to run on the indoor track. But for someone who's, a lot longer, it's a lot more difficult for them to kind of feel smooth running around the track. So, and I've trained on the indoors a lot as well. I'm very grateful to have had Kelvin Hall and Emirates, considering the Scottish weather. So I'm very used to it. So I feel very comfortable in an indoor track. Because it's a very different surface and type of running too. So you do have to be careful in terms of injury as well. If you're not used to running on an indoor track and then you suddenly start doing a lot of training on it or racing on it, you can create issues too. So it's all about doing something that's right for your program for that year. And also making sure your body's suited to that style of running too. So yes, I like it because I'm used to training indoors and I like competing. It's nice for me to kind of have something to aim for this time of year. Like, I'd really struggle, I think, if I didn't have anything till like May time. That would just seem so long, because I love competing. But other people, they don't feel the need to compete and they'd rather just train. So I think it's up to preference and what you're hoping to get out of the year as well.
I think in my head, because we'll speak about Olympics in a wee bit, but in my head, the Laura Muir that I see is indoor and battering around that track.
Yeah.
And I want to speak about the double-double, right? 2017 and 2019, where you did the double-double. And there just seems to be that, I'm going to go all fanboy for a minute, Laura, right? There just seemed to be that it wasn't even with a lap to go. Sometimes it was like 2 laps, or mostly it was from the off. You were just on attack from the start.
Yeah.
And so to speak about 2019, because you'd done the double, which was the 1,500 and 3,000 metres in Belgrade in 2017.
Yep.
You're then coming home in 2019 to Glasgow. Was there two questions? You can choose which one to answer first. Did you feel a pressure to perform in Glasgow in 2019? And then what did it feel like to do that double-double on home turf?
So I think something I've kind of like adopted for probably over 10 years now is I don't see like pressure as pressure, but I see it more as support. Because if the pressure's there, that means people are expecting you to do well. So if people are expecting to do well, then that's a good thing. Like, you're in a good place. So I see it more as like, okay, people are expecting me to deliver X, Y, Z. So I see that more as a support. It's like they believe in me that I can deliver. So yeah, I didn't really feel pressure as such, I guess, going into it. But looking back on it, it's funny how like you don't really. Well, I guess I probably kind of don't think about things and kind of narrow things down, because otherwise it can be quite easy to get overwhelmed. But it's not until sometimes after the competition that you think, oh, that was quite a lot actually, because I was the event ambassador for it as well. It was my home track in terms of not even like home country like Scotland, home city like Glasgow, Emirates that I train on all the time as well. I was also the defending champion in both events. So I was like, you couldn't really ask for much more really pressure, as you say, than that. So it wasn't until afterwards that I did it and I was like, oh, actually, that probably was quite a lot. But yeah, I think it was just this opportunity. We were only going to do like one event, because the 3K finals after the 1,500 meter heat, it was the same evening, so there wasn't any breaks. It was like you run the 1,500 meter heat and then you got the 3K. I think it was like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours afterwards. So it was quite a small gap, and I'd never done that before at a championship level, doing, you know, a final on the day that I had a heat. But then I was running really well, and I was like, well, when are you going to have this opportunity to do this again? So we just thought, you know what, just go for it, hope for the best. And yeah, I think I was just so set in my head that like I'm winning them both. It's like there's no question, because this is my home turf. So I was like, no chance. I've got that yellow bib, which is like the defending champion bib. So I'm doing it. So I guess it was just in my head. It never even crossed my mind that I wasn't going to win both, because I just thought, yeah, my family here, my friends are here. Like, it was strange. There was volunteers, you know, kickbox people that, you know, friends that I kind of knew from school and from high school, and then from university. And I was like, oh, you just see all these people that you've met throughout your life, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. So I just did it, and that was it. So, but yeah, it was really cool to do. It was pretty special. Yeah.
I think
you
I
make
cried.
it sound so easy.
Yeah, I think
I bet it was far too easy.
I think I cried watching it happen. I'm nearly crying again now. I love it, absolutely.
I can see him. John's got a tendency to get emotional.
Thank you so much for describing that like that. It was brilliant. And I've also I can't just brush over the fact that when I mentioned pressure, the way that you've flipped that as well, for it to be a source of good, you know. So I like that, and a lot of people can maybe learn. We speak about golden nuggets, and I think that was one that was right there. So thank you very much for that. Stephen, shall we go to the land of the rising sun?
Let's go there. I'm sitting here with my fully endorsed T-shirt on, unavailable on anywhere else apart for very limited edition, Laura, and that's because I'm heading over to Tokyo, as we spoke about before we recorded, later on in the year. But Tokyo holds a lot of memories for you. Quite a unique Olympic Games, with it was during the COVID weirdness and such like, that was sort of pushed back and stuff. But a silver medal at the Olympics in Tokyo was yours. What's your recollections of that particular whole experience? And I suppose I'm interested selfishly in that experience in, you know, Japan, a whole different culture exists there.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird one, but like amazing at the same time. I like the Japanese people were so lovely. They were so nice and so accommodating, considering everything that was going on as well. So that was really, really lovely. So I think we weren't really too sure what reception we were going to have, because it was a little bit controversial at the time, you know, should it have gone ahead or not. So, but yeah, everybody was so lovely and welcoming, and it was just strange, because you were just in this bubble the whole time. You were literally in the hotel, and then you just got shuttled everywhere on these specific transports to specific places, and then back to the hotel again. That was it. You saw nothing. You were like literally hotel venue, and then you got in the village, and that was it. And then it was like village venue. So that was it. You were just in this really strict bubble. But like, yeah, it needed to be that way though, to make sure it could go ahead as it did. So yeah, it was quite a strange experience, but I think we still got quite a lot of a feel for the country, and because the people were so lovely and friendly. And you know, in the village you saw like Japanese food and things, which was nice. And you know, you could still see out the windows what it looked like.
I know, it's like teasing you. It's like,
yeah, I was actually really lucky, because I went to Japan in 2019 for a couple, just over a week, to see it ahead of it, thinking it was going to be in 2020. So I did a few runs to kind of recce some of the routes and use the track. So I was like, oh, this looks a really nice place to train. And then come a couple of years later, I wasn't able to use any of it. But I was like, oh, never mind. So at least I had that week though in 2019, where I got to see a bit of the place, which was really nice. So a lot of athletes just went there and couldn't see anything at all at the time of the Olympics. But yeah, it was a crazy one, and yeah, strange having very few people in the stadium too. But at the end of the day, got what I came for. So that was really good. So
fantastic. Got what you came for. And so getting on that podium at the Olympics is like you spoke earlier around about no really having that aspiration or realization, I think is a better word, Laura, about being a professional athlete, and you know, the veterinary stuff was more your end game by the sounds of it for your career. When did it then dawn on you that you had this talent that could take you to a podium at the Olympics. When did that kind of sink in?
It might have been, it's probably around about, I'm trying to think, maybe 2015, maybe. Like
Okay.
I've been running at a good level for 13, 14, 15.
Uh-huh.
And then 2015, I came fifth at the World Championships when I was 22. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if I can come fifth at World Championships 22, then yeah, and then Rio was the following year. So I thought, okay, we're in a chance here of doing something. So yeah, so I guess I was running, you know, a really good level sort of for a European level in the medal zone before that, but not necessarily on the global level. So I think that was the closest I got to a global medal at that point. And then yeah, it took a little while to actually get the Olympic medal, but yeah, but the potential was there, and I think that's what gave me the confidence to just keep going for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You spoke about the history of your running in your post-event interview at the Olympics, about the places that you'd been on that journey to getting that silver medal that day. I kind of cried at that as well, along with yourself. But one thing I've got to mention as well is the Kenyan tracksuit. I always remember the Kenyan tracksuit at the Olympic Games. It was an absolute belter. I loved that. I loved that. But I've watched that final a number of times. I watched it a couple of times this morning as well. And Sifan Hassan is one of the best athletes I think I've ever seen in my life. She's been phenomenal. She'd set out to win. She was going for a treble that year. I think she said she was going to try and do that. But there's a bit in that final at about 3 minutes 30. There's 24 seconds left, and you go past her shoulder at that point.
Yeah.
Can you sum up how that feels and how the next 24 seconds felt?
Yeah. Well, it was like, because the closer we were getting to the bell, and I was still, I think by that I was in third, probably like just after a lap, I was like third, a lap to go. And I thought, right, I just need to stay. I was like, I've got a medal, just stay there. It's like, do not let anybody pass you. And then, it was on that top end with about 150 to go. I was like, he gets over actually. So then I was like, well, just pass her and keep going. So I never actually thought, because I had beaten Sifan before a number of times, but she'd really come on sort of that last 2-3 years to a completely different level. So for me, I was going into it, I was like, right, get a medal. It's like, just get a medal. And then when she was there, I was like, oh, actually, like I could actually keep going. So yeah, I was thought, and I just, when I came up onto her shoulder, I was like, I'm just going. And if she catches me, but I'm just going to go for it. Because I cannot let someone pass me and come fourth. I was like, not a chance. So I think it was like so scared of actually losing a medal that I thought I'm just going to welly it, and then I got silver. So yeah, but I do remember. I don't normally remember much of races because it's a bit of a blur, but I do remember that last 50, and I was spent, but I just leathered it as much as I could because I was like, I'm not losing this. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Sorry, Stephen, on you go.
I was going to say, I love wellied it. Welling it at the Olympics.
Nobody's getting by Laura Muir when she's welling it. That's just not happening. I love it.
Tony McGill.
Thank you so much for that. You've described that brilliantly. And we spoke with Eilish McColgan when she did the final straight at Birmingham. It was at Birmingham, I think. And she described that really well. And you've just done exactly the same. Can I ask you, you mentioned about being spent. And a lot of the time we see people on these events at the end, you just fall to the track and you can see your lungs going, just screaming for air. What does that? I'll never experience what that feels like. What does that feel like? Are you literally gasping for air?
To be honest, I kind of don't like. It's not that you don't remember it, but I think you're just so knackered. You're not even like not even thinking. Yeah. You just like all it is like I got to lie down. So I got to lie down. That's it, because everything is screaming at you. It's not just your legs. It's your chest. It's your arms. It's your head, because you're like full lactic. It's just like everything's hurting. So it's just like lie down, and we'll just find out how we've done after a couple of minutes when we're okay. We'll find out what time we've ran in a couple of minutes as well. It's just like, but I just run as hard as I can, because at the end of the day, if I cross the line, I hit the deck, and I'm like, well, I don't quite know how I've done yet, but at least I know I've given it everything. And then once you kind of come round, you're like, oh, how have I done? And you're like, oh, okay, this is good, or okay, that wasn't as good as we hoped for. But yeah, I think you just, for me, I got to give it everything, because I would hate to cross the line and think I've got something left and I could have done X, Y, Z, because I could have done X, Y, Z doesn't count for anything. You got to do it. So yeah, that's what
That's
I mean.
interesting.
Even that's a revelation, that's how you do that. You're just giving everything. What will be, but let's have no regrets. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
A quick side question, if that's okay. See, when you're in the packed stadium and the crowd that's electric, and we see it on the TV, what's your awareness of, like, hearing a shout, or do you ever tune into something that really it makes you be in that moment, or are you just completely laser focused that everything else is a blur?
Yeah, to be honest, usually it's pretty laser focused. I don't actually take in normally much at all of going on. Indoors is a little bit different because it's a lot more intimate. Like, people are a lot closer.
Of course.
So sometimes if I'm like listening out for one specific person, I can hear them. Like if I want to know how I'm doing or something. But generally, no, I'm fully focused. So yeah, for Tokyo, because there wasn't anybody, it was strange. But it was strange, I think, on the start line. But then once we started, I was like, it doesn't matter anyway. So
game on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it was strange walking out, and there just been like a few speckles of people. Like, it was just other athletes and media and stuff, and that was it. But then once the gun went, it was like, oh well, it doesn't really matter now anyway. So no, not normally. No.
Thank you.
And then once you get your breath back, the world's media's lined up and putting a microphone in front of your face. I always think, give them 10 minutes, It's like at the end of football, they've got the manager and they're like, what's your thoughts on the game?
You know what the worst thing is, though? It's the stairs, right? Because have you ever seen a media zone? So there's the tracks here, and there's like a set of stairs, and there'll be like somebody here, and then you go along and you go up, and you go along and you up, and you go along and you up, and you're all the way up, and then you got to do it back down and things like the stairs again. So stairs, because you just raced, and you got to like go all the way up all these stairs and back down again. Yeah,
I'd have that on Strava. I'd have that on Strava. Up the stairs.
My legs are dead. It's like, trying to be, what's the word, eloquent and kind of come across semi-okay when you're fried is a bit difficult.
I know.
At times. Yeah.
Get trained in that as well.
Yeah.
Simulations, it's like that, right? Or you're knackered. Right. Yeah. Pretend I'm interviewing you.
Well, that's it. Like, no matter how the race goes, emotions are high. Like, it might be good emotions or bad emotions, but they're always going to be high, and everything's like buzzing. So it does take a bit of time to kind of teach yourself to be like, okay, try and come across, fairly okay in front of live audiences. So,
yeah. Heart goes out to you sometimes. I'd be like, whoa.
I love the. I'm saying it must be difficult to do that, but I love the authenticity that comes across as well. Somebody's raw emotions is there.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask one question. What did it feel like to go up on that podium and have that silver medal presented to you?
It was just so surreal. It's like, is this real? It was so strange because so sometimes medal ceremonies are the night of or the next day. So mine was the night of, so it was actually an hour after the race. So it was just so surreal because it was like, I was just standing there thinking, like, 2 hours ago, I wasn't even in the call room. And now I'm standing in the podium with the Olympic silver medal. And I was just like, I didn't know what to think. I was so glad, actually, we had to wear face masks at the time still. And I'm glad I did, because I was like in bits. But yeah, it was just very, very surreal when you think, because Rio didn't go as I'd expected it to. So I'd waited 5 years for the Olympics, not knowing it was going to go ahead or not. And then I'm there having one silver kind of sandwiched between two of the best distance runners there's ever been and probably ever will be. Having just run a British record as well. It was just, it's just crazy. I couldn't really describe it, to be honest. It was a bit of a pinch me moment, I think. Yeah.
Where do you keep your silver medal?
Hidden away. I've not got it framed, because I've got my kits framed, but I didn't want to get the medal framed because then I can't bring it along to events and show people. I have it stashed away safe. So not with me in staff. Actually, if I was back home, I could have come and showed you, but unfortunately, I'm not there. So
that's cool.
Did I see people who got medals at Paris that were complaining about them rusting and things like that? Did I?
Yeah. Actually, I can't comment, unfortunately.
Well, exactly. Who wants one of those ones? They're
But the
rubbish.
Tokyo one's going strong. So
Yes, that's
Brilliant.
yeah.
that's the main thing.
I want to go further back. We've been very fortunate to speak to a number of people who've represented their country. What did that feel like, getting a Scottish vest and then a GB vest? How does that feel, Laura?
Yeah, it's strange. I guess it's like, I mean, I run, and I know, like, I'm very proud to be Scottish, but I'm also British as well. And not Scotland doesn't represent all the different competitions, so it's like I just compete for who I'm able to compete for. But I think it is really special when you have those Commonwealth opportunities. It's just nothing better than seeing like Scotland across your front and being in the blues is really, really special. I think it's special because I think that's where you're from, but also because you don't get the opportunity to do it as much as well. So, but yeah, no, like I'm been very honoured and privileged to be able to run for both teams and to be able to represent as well as I have on both as well. So, but yeah, I guess it's just like a job, isn't it? You represent for whoever you're representing, so kind of like a sponsor as well. But yeah, it was very, very special to be on the podium on both, and especially to be on the top of the podium for commies in Birmingham as well, because then to hear the Flower of Scotland, like, that's a very, very, very unique opportunity. So that was incredibly special. Yeah.
We shiver there. Me.
Yeah.
Can we speak about can we speak about, you don't have to mention specifics, but the family thing, the pride that must come from seeing their daughter, their brother, their sister, doing what they've done. What's that like for your family?
I don't know. I guess I know they're very proud of me. And it's nice when they're able to come to some competitions to watch and things. But I don't know. You probably need to ask them. But yeah, I think it's
line
just
us
nice.
up. Line us.
Yeah.
That's another. We'll close the season with that episode.
Oh, we're joking. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I think it's just. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could relate if I had my own kids and I could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think because I don't have my own children, I can't really relate to that. But yeah, I think I've done them proud, so that's good. Yeah.
Oh, I would say
That's
so.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I was actually going to say, John is less so, but me, I'm right into my trainers and kit and stuff like that. And in fact, I've made John a commitment this year to running a pair of carbon fibre shoes. Yeah, just so that he can experience the go gadget feet feeling that I first got when I was. Now, we know that you're sponsored by Nike at the moment. Yes. But have you got a favourite pair of shoes for the track or for the road that just stink with you, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've always run in Pegasus, the trainers, so they've kind of gone through a variety of models. So I'm on the latest model, the Pegasus 41 just now. So I just find them really good because they're a neutral shoe. And I have orthotics, so I just put my orthotics in my trainers. But yeah, I use them for a lot of stuff. Like, I use them for all my runs and all my warm-ups and things. And they've not caused me any issues. So I think that's the main thing, is like, just find something that doesn't cause you issues. That's the most important thing. So that's always been really good. And then on the track, there's the Dragonflies that I really like. I think they complement my sort of running style really well. So I'll use them for a lot of longer based stuff. And then the Victories I race in. I really like the Victories. They are very nice. And then I'm on the Vaporflies when I do sort of more road and tempo based stuff as well. I can't remember what model I'm on of them now, but
yeah, I think it'll be the
it's a
threes.
variety of different shoes for different purposes. So
yeah, okay. Well, I'm a Vaporfly lad,
nice.
so
Nice.
yes.
Whereas you had me eat a porridge, I was all about the porridge.
Yeah.
What did you wear when you were belting up that street in New York?
They were Vaporflies. Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever worn them. Yeah, because I'd always just trained in a Pegasus, and I used to do a lot of like road sessions and things. So I wore them for the first time in the warm up, and I thought, oh, these feel okay. But then it was quite wet that day, like the road was quite slippy, so I was a little bit worried. But no, fair play, like they did well. Like the grip was still pretty decent considering how wet it was. Yeah, and ran very fast. So I was like, yeah, these will do. So yeah.
Nice one.
Just on that, New York was not in my mind until Stephen started speaking about shoes. What's that like, that event in New York?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's essentially, I mean, it's brutal. Like, I feel like a road mile, because it's the road and you're running so fast, it's so hard on the legs. But it's essentially like a mile just straight down Fifth Avenue in New York on the road. And the first half a mile kind of gradually goes up. So you can't see the finish when you start, because it gradually goes up. And then you get to the crest of the hill, round about halfway, and then you can see the finish line. And I learned the hard way when I did it for the first time. It's like, that finish line, it looks a lot closer than what it is. So, like, the first time I did it, I was like, oh, there's the finish line, and started tanking it. And then it wasn't that close. So it was very, very painful. So I learned from that. And when I came back and did it again, I was like, okay, don't absolutely obliterate it. Keep that out. And it was okay. I mean, I was still very tired because I ran very fast, but it's really fun. And it was usually at the end of the season, so it was a nice kind of one to do it, a bit of fun too. But yeah, stuff like that is just really cool to do. So
definitely a bit of razzmatazz as well, isn't it? It's just,
yeah.
And I think it would be an opportune moment, because now there's going to be a point in time where the track will not be so much attractive as you get into the twilight of your career and in your years. Have you got, Laura, any aspirations to do anything like, bigger distances?
I think I have quite a lot of potential at 5K. Yeah, I mean, I've not done a huge amount of the 5K type training, but I've still ran really fast at it, considering I've not really trained for it. So I think I would like to explore that. I wouldn't want to come to the end of my career and not try to take my time down at that. So that would be good to do. But to be honest, like, I don't know if I enjoy the training if it got a lot longer. Like, I like the stuff. I like being on the track. I like running fast. So for me, I just want to keep that enjoyment. So I wouldn't want to end up training for longer events and losing that enjoyment of it. So I don't think I would ever go to like marathons or anything. Like, I would love to run one, but just for like fun. Like, I would just jog around just to, I wouldn't change my training at all. Like, I've never run further than a half marathon. I wouldn't change it. I'd just be like, I'm just going to keep going and get around. But because I think it's a really iconic thing to have done. It's a really big achievement, regardless of, your ability level. So it'd be nice to run one for fun at one point in time. But yeah, I think in terms of like properly committing and training for something, I'm not sure how long I'd want to go. But I mean, at the same time, I'd like to make most opportunities. So we'll see. This may like come back and bite me in the bum in a few years' time. We'll see. But no, at the moment, I like the speedy stuff. So
yeah, thank you.
There's a quite challenging half marathon in Auchterarder later on this year. If you want to come along, give us a shout.
I'd imagine, is it?
It's got a couple of speed bumps.
A couple of wee bumps in it, yeah. But we know a guy that can get you a place at that.
Oh, yes.
Right, 2 questions left, Stephen.
It is, and these are 2 of our favourite questions, Laura, and hopefully you've had a chance to think about them. The first one is an entry in our dialect dictionary, which is brimful of words and phrases from across the globe. So over to you, Laura, for our very important second to last question.
So I think, it was funny because I was actually speaking to my physio about this a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about typically talking about the weather, and it was just one of those days where it was just like, I think it was like 2 o'clock, and it was just dark, and it was just grey, and it was just miserable, and I'd just been out for a run that morning and just got absolutely soaked, and I was talking to her about how it was like smirry rain, and she was like, smirry rain? I was like, yeah, smirry rain. It was like really smirry, and she had no idea what I was on about. And then I had kind of second guessed myself. I was like, this is a right, an actual word, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, it is. But it's like that rain, isn't it, where you think like, oh, it actually doesn't look half bad. Maybe this is going to be a semi-okay day, and you just end up a bit soaked anyway. So it's like that false sort of like perception of, this is actually a semi-alright day in Glasgow, and it's just disgusting anyway. So smirry, I quite like smirry.
Yeah,
but I feel like
it's not quite dreich, is it? That's almost
because dreich, I feel like it's dreich, but like smirry, you're like, oh, it doesn't actually look too bad, and then you go out and then you're soaked anyway. So yeah.
We needed a few S's, so
people have got different descriptions. I think our Yorkshire correspondent Mel Sykes, she talks about, it's like, is it mizzle?
Yeah, like mist and drizzle.
She talks about that. So I also think we should bar a W in as well for welly. When Laura used welly,
Yeah,
giving it
really in it.
well. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I think, Laura, you deserved a couple of entries, so we'll put Welly in there as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our final question, Laura, is a musical one.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear the answer to this one, actually. We have a playlist that we ask all our guests to suggest a song or a track to, and we've got a listeners playlist as well. For when they're not listening to us, they can go and listen to something else. But what song or track would Laura Muir like to give to the Young Hearts Run Free listeners?
So I'm not actually like big like music person, because I don't listen to it when I'm running or anything. But like I do, like sometimes if I have to put something up on Instagram, I try and find one that's got a good, like, you know, running beat to it or relates to it or something. And I found this one last year that I really like, and it's called "I Ran So Far Away" by A Flock of Seagulls.
Oh, you're going to the 80s. Brilliant.
Yeah. But I was like, when I found it, I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of like badass, like speed, like just running like hard. I was like, yeah, I like it. So I used that for one of my videos that I was running fast. And I was like, yeah, I like that one.
Brilliant. Yeah. And when the guy, I can't remember, his name was Mike, that could be wrong, lead singer, he had his hair done like a seagull. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Brilliant. It's a great track, great song, and a good tempo as well for running as well. Officially the quickest hour of my year so far, Laura, which is quite fitting because you're a very fast person too. So thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm forever indebted to Tony McGill for bringing us together. I'm going to hand over to Stephen to say a final cheerio, but I wish you health and happiness for 2025 and the future. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Oh, that's all. Thank you. Been a pleasure.
No, thanks very much, Laura. And thanks for making time to speak to us. I know how busy your schedule is. It's hugely appreciated, and it's been a real honour for John and I to get a chance to spend some time in your company. Thank you so much, and all the best for a big 2025 and beyond.
Oh, thank you.